You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation, and happy Friday. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here as we get ready for Steelers and Seahawks. It's the home opener, Sunday, 1 o'clock on the North Shore at Acrisure Stadium. Matt, how we doing? How we feeling?
Real good. Beautiful day out there. Ready for game day. Saw a good one last night. Not much more to add. Let's roll, man.
I think that's it.
We're in the heart of the season.
We are certainly getting into it. It's going to be, I think, another beautiful weekend here in Pittsburgh where we've had great weather already this week. If you're
Sure seems like it, yeah.
Some of the 67-ish thousand that's going to be in attendance on Sunday, I think you're in for a fun afternoon out there in the elements or the lack thereof. And it'll be a big week across the NFL here in week 2. Another big slate of games that we'll get to on the show today. We'll talk to Missy Matthews about 15, 20 minutes from now and get her thoughts as she'll be patrolling the sidelines. But, Matt, I just kind of wanted to start big picture with you here before we get going, or as we get going, maybe I should say. And how do the Steelers get this run game going?
I know.
Listen, there's a lot of layers to this, right?
There are.
If they could get that run game going, particularly right out of the chute, what that would mean for Aaron Rodgers in the pass game, what it would mean against the Seattle defense that has a stout front but is pretty banged up on the back end now. We'll get to that exact report here as well today. But just 30,000-foot view, how do we get this run game going? Because that feels like a really big element of Sunday's contest.
It feels like a real crucial part for the rest of the year. I mean, it's early to get ahead of yourself. You know, if you don't get a run game going, the season's going to be an uphill climb. But it's going to be an uphill climb if you don't get a running game going. And I have some answers for how can they stop the run better? How can they get more sacks? How can their protection improve? I don't have great answers for this, though. I mean, I think they kind of are what they are in that they're a zone outside running team. Then I absolutely think there's truth. I'm not saying that there's no hope for, forget about it.
Sure.
The season's over. But, I mean, I think that there is truth to running games don't mature overnight. I mean, the physicality of it all, and it's going to take some time. You got to, they say pound the rock for a reason. You got to keep swinging that sledgehammer before the rock breaks. But I don't see like major changes. Like I'm not going to say make Caleb Johnson the feature back.
Sure.
I mean, I'd like to see more Darnell Washington snaps. I mean, I think that maybe they regret that in terms of helping Broderick in protection as well as just getting him out there securing the edge on the outside zone just because he's such a force. But other than that, I think it's just going to be a patience thing. I think it's going to be Rodgers getting you in the right plays pre-snap, which that's the part I'm confident about. I think he'll do that, I
think everybody should be confident about that.
Yeah.
To me, there's a kind of a weird chicken or egg thing going on, right? Like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Do you need to continue to have success in the pass game to set up the run? Or do you need to establish the run so that you can continue to have success in the pass game?
Right.
Because I think we're all very encouraged from what we saw by Aaron Rodgers this past Sunday, but I also think we don't want him to have to do that 16 more times.
Yeah, and I also think that I hope it's not the latter. I hope that you need the run game in order to have a successful pass game, because I'm more confident in Rodgers and his pass catchers and his protection than I am who they're handing it to and who's blocking and the consistency of the run game. I keep coming back to yards per carry. I mean, I got to be over 4 at least. I know we were shooting for over 4.1 all off season. I wanted like 4.3, 4.4, but I mean, after last week, get to at least around 4. Come on, stay ahead of the chains a little bit.
And it could be a growing process. Let's see it be. It doesn't have to be 4 points.
It's not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight, but you got it. And I know you have done a good job of laying this out too. Like progress is not always linear.
Of course.
I think you saw that a little bit with the Washington Commanders last night. Like we were talking about, you can take 5
Great
steps.
Team for that, right?
You can take 5 steps forward and then 2 steps back. Doesn't mean you still haven't improved.
Yeah, but the ship's still going the right direction.
Progression is not always linear. You're not always climbing. Sometimes you are gonna have setbacks or maybe take a little step back. I know that progression is not going to be linear in the run game, but it's time to see some of the steps forward.
1,000%. And Jets are a good front. Seattle's a good front.
Yes, they are.
You're going to face a lot of good fronts. You're in the NFL. I mean, this is not going to be easy. So one note, and I don't have a real strong take on it, but I think they're happy with their ball carriers. And I say this because money talks, resources talk. All 3 of those guys, one you used a 3rd-round pick on. One you went out and got, Gainwell, and Tomlin mentioned him by name after the press conference or after the game in week 1. And the other guy you just extended. So all those dudes you just put resources into. Now, they could be like, wish I didn't use a 3rd-round pick on Caleb Johnson. I mean, there's buyer's remorse. Sure. Why'd we give Warren an extension? What were we thinking? But in the very recent memory, they just put stuff into these 3. Now, I'm not saying they're Franco and Lev Bell combined. I don't think it's a great backfield. But I think the ball carriers are good enough.
I think they're certainly better than what they showed Sunday at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And that to me needs to what the exact numbers look like. I want us to come in here on Monday to do a show and feel better about the run game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I exactly have the parameters for that right now.
Yeah, I don't know what that number is or feeling. It's more of a feeling.
It's more of a feel, like I'll know it when I see it type thing, and I think that's a reasonable starting point to improve here in week number 2 in the run game. And another part of that, Matt, is how much play action we saw Sunday against the Jets, how successful that play action was Sunday against the Jets. I want that to continue. And a run game that defenses, I'm not even saying the defense has to fear the run game. Just a run game that they have to respect.
Respect and honor.
Goes a long way in that regard, too.
It does. I mean, I half believe them. There's a lot of studies out there that even if you don't run the ball great, you still play action is still highly effective. And I'll concede, yes, using it is helpful no matter what. I mean, the numbers basically say the yards per play action across the league are better than without. Okay, I'm on board with that. But there's some human nature, too. I mean, if you're looking and there's Derrick Henry or Jerome when he's just gashing you, you're going to step up a little bit as a linebacker. You're just going to. I can't 100% believe that, a garbage running game, play action is going to tear people up. I'm not on board with that, even though I am a numbers guy.
Particularly in the second half, when you're a little bit more winded, you're not quite as sharp mentally. You've not
been tackling this back all day long, and it's getting old. Right.
100%. And so that to me is kind of, again, that whole ecosystem that works together that we talked about this with Labs a little bit yesterday. Like it is not going to be a finished product anywhere close. We might even be getting into October and closer to Halloween before we start to feel that it's where it needs to be. But I want to see it take a noticeable step forward. I want to see some progression this week
even
against
a baby
Seattle.
Step forward this week, I think would make me happy.
Would make me happy because, as you mentioned too, this is not a schlub defense that they're going up against.
No,
if they can have success in the run game against Seattle, that I think would bode well for how we feel about their success in the run game going forward.
And I don't need to tell our listeners this. I mean, there's obviously way more benefits than just it helps play action. I mean, obviously. I mean, I keep coming back to Seattle having 22 minutes of time possession. Like if you can keep those guys off field, it's not like their offense is super dangerous, but they are not a inning-eating offense by any stretch. They have their own issues. They couldn't really run the ball either. If you're just maybe I'd even put it this, like if they just were the better, in this case, because I thought the opposite last week, if they're just the better running team in this game, I'll take that as a team win because that means the run defense was a little better too.
I think that is another one of those kind of what exactly that looks like, what the numbers look like.
I'm not sure
up for interpretation.
But yeah. But I don't want to average 2-point-something yards per carry anymore, but
if at 4:00 on Sunday we're saying the Steelers ran the ball more successfully than Seattle did, I really like our chances to be saying that the Steelers are 2-0 as well.
Yes. All that stuff being said, some of our goals for the year, starting faster, first quarter differential, sack differential. The one I'm most worried about is getting the running game back up, because And I think we were shooting for 4.2, 4.3, whatever, get to 20th in yards per carry. They're not going to have a quarterback that runs for ever a big game.
He's not going to be doing Justin Fields things.
No, you lose that aspect of it. And I just said the ball carriers are fine, but they're not Pro Bowlers, and I don't know that any of them are going to get you the 80-yarders to boost that up. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's going to take time. I mean, to me, that's of all the goals that we set in the offseason and discussed over and over, that's the one I'm least confident they hit.
If you were yes, no doubt.
Without question.
And I think that would be pretty unanimous across the board if we were to poll people in that regard. I know the sack numbers weren't there for the Steelers last week. That's also probably, other than Lamar Jackson, the most mobile quarterback they're going to see the rest of the year.
And I also did some more homework on that, too. The Steelers blitzed more than you thought in that game, and they brought 6. That's a thing they've been doing last year, too, is when they blitz, they don't bring 5 nearly as much as most defenses. When they blitz big. But I also think they blitzed for different reasons, too. And I probably regret it because Fields made them pay, but I think they were pretty focused on keeping him in the pocket and not scrambling. There's different ways to rush
a mush rush type.
Yeah, I mean, and still disrupt
kind of surround
them,
and not give him space to operate.
Because if you look at all of his rushing yards, almost all of them are off designed runs. They're not scrambles, and he was not beating people from the pocket when he was here or with the Bears. And to his credit, he got better at it and had a good game, his best game. And I think they wanted to make him do quarterback stuff. So I'm not saying they could have had more sacks, but I think if they rush differently, especially a guy like Darnold, who's a good athlete, but nothing like that, you probably put the quarterback on the ground more. Plus, I thought Fields did a really good job of eluding. When they did get near him, he was really tough to get on the ground. Tough to get on the ground.
I know we talked about this on Monday, but there was a couple times that I felt TJ, Alex, Patrick Queen, they read what he was doing. They could not have read and broken on the play better. But he just beat him.
But he was just the better.
He's just the better athlete.
Dude at the time.
He's just so shifty, so quick.
Yep.
You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile in the run game there. So yeah, they will not have that threat with Sam Darnold this week.
No, he's a good athlete. I mean, he was a high pick.
Well, I mean, he's not going to be the Statue of Liberty back there in the pocket. But
I mean, he moves better than Rodgers or Flacco at their ages. But I mean, he's nothing like these runners like that. And you also get Herbig back, most likely. I mean, who's a really good pass rusher.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good. Matt, taking a look, because obviously with the time change difference, we did not get the Seattle Seahawks injury report until we were way off. When we were way off, because those usually typically come out around 4 or 5, and if you're going West Coast time 4 or 5, that's 7 or 8 our time. Obviously, if you're doing the map there. Not good for the Seattle Seahawks.
I don't think it is
secondary.
Yeah.
They could be without 3 of their top 6 defensive backs.
All right, let's talk about that.
Devin Witherspoon did not participate in practice Thursday or Wednesday. Both of them did not practice Wednesday or 30. Julian Love.
Let's start. Let's just go one by one real quick. Witherspoon's a really, really good player. He was like the 5th or 6th pick in the draft, despite being kind of an undersized corner. Because he is nasty and he runs well and he throws his body around. And these teams, including the Steelers, that are valuing slot corners, whether it's a Brian Branch or a DeJean or Ramsey, he's right in that mold and really, really good at it. And when they're in 2 corners, he's an outside guy with Reek Woolen, who they're not saying anything good about Reek Woolen, but if Woolen had a tough game in week 1. The other 2 corners had really nice games, Job especially, but Woolen had a really tough game in week 1, blew some assignments from what I understand, and I think the head coach basically said, we're not real thrilled with this, but if there's corner injuries, doesn't matter if you're thrilled or not, he's going to be out there.
He's got to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a big ripple effect. He's definitely one of their best players, Witherspoon.
Did not practice Wednesday, did not practice Thursday, Witherspoon, and not much better for their safeties. Julian Love, he was limited on Wednesday and then did not practice on Thursday.
That's always a terrible sign.
Which is always a terrible sign.
Yeah. Dale brings it up all the time. It's like if you go backwards Wednesday to Thursday or Thursday to Friday,
not good.
Percentage is really bad you play.
Not good. Yeah. And then Nick Eamon-Worry has been listed as out week to week and is still not practiced yet this week.
I never thought he really had much.
He was
of a
the one
chance.
that it felt like he was. They haven't officially ruled him out, but that he didn't have much of a chance, like you said. So. Again,
let's touch on those 2 real quick. Love's just a really good all-around safety. Like, he's a starter all day long, like an Elliott level safety. Like, you're really happy with him. Everyone on the team thinks he's a good player. He's not a star. He's not going to Canton. But he doesn't have discernible weaknesses.
He belongs on an NFL field on Sundays.
He's a starter on just about most teams. You know what I mean? Eminwari is really interesting to me because, first of all, he's 220 pounds and is an obscene tester at the combine. I mean, he's a rare size speed freak. That we can't forget that their head coach was defense coordinator at Baltimore. They see Kyle Hamilton stuff in him. They traded up to get early in the second round. They had to go O-line in the first round because it was such a disaster. And then the coach got, I really want that shiny little object. You know, can we trade up in the second round? Like, all right, go get it.
First round pick was for the team. Second round pick was for me.
Yeah, I need one of those toys like a Kyle Hamilton type. Can he be it? Maybe, but he's a rookie though too. He hasn't played yet,
and doesn't sound like he's going to make his debut this Sunday in Pittsburgh. So that's the latest on the Seattle Seahawks. Some significant absences
maybe
potentially.
You play more 11 so that they have to keep defensive backs on the field a high percentage.
It's an interesting strategy.
Does Roman Wilson get more run, especially if you're not running the ball well? I think
that's where it starts.
Yeah. If you run the ball well, keep running the ball.
If you run the ball well, keep running the ball, and then maybe hit him with some of that stuff once you think you got him right where you want him.
Right.
But if you're not running the ball well, if you've got 2.2,
their front seven's deep and good,
real good. We'll talk about them maybe at the bottom of this hour when we start to get into some of our matchup stuff. But if you're at halftime and you're running for 2.2 yards a clip like you were through 30 minutes at MetLife,
I might get Roman Wilson out there.
I might get Roman Wilson out
three
there
wide and say, "All right, Aaron,
hey Aaron, let's do it."
Right, yeah.
Go be the offensive coordinator at the line of scrimmage.
We saw Rodgers find matchups to his advantage, and I thought when not knowing injury report stuff, like as soon as that game ended, I'm like, they don't have as many guys to pick on. They don't have Sauce, but there's not as many guys to pick on. Well, now there might be guys to pick on. Right.
It'll be very interesting to see how that all plays out.
Especially at safety. Maybe that's a Jonnu thing.
Maybe. Ooh, now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all this and more when we return on the other side with our friend Missy Matthews, Steelers sideline reporter. We'll get her thoughts on Steelers Seahawks, the home opener Sunday, 1 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium. It's The Drive. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. It's a Friday here on The Drive, and that means a couple things. First and foremost, our good friend, the queen of the Steelers sideline, Missy Matthews, going to join us on the phone lines here as we talk a little Steelers and Seahawks. What's up, Missy? How we doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better. In fact, Missy, I am better now than I anticipate I will be tomorrow evening when the backyard brawl concludes. But I'm sure you'll give me plenty of grief, rightfully so, about that on Sunday.
I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot. But
Well,
that's okay.
Missy, let's jump into the Sunday game on the radar here for everybody in the Steel City. Of course, the opener, Steelers and Seattle, 1 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium. Has sounded like good news for Nick Herbig and his availability, maybe not so great for Joey Porter Jr. and his status. What do you expect for those two on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, 2 days of not practicing for Joey on Wednesday and Thursday, still waiting to see, the injury designation. It's usually the status report will come out a little bit later because you're dealing with Seattle, different time zone. Which just stinks. It sounded like Coach Tomlin was a little bit optimistic earlier in the week, but the hamstring injury, which is what Nick was dealing with, he got hurt in that home preseason game, and he's just getting back this week. So hopefully it doesn't take as long for Joey, but I don't anticipate him being out there this week.
So, Missy, I always like to pick your brain on Fridays about how the sidelines were and during the game and things like that of the previous one. And there's only been one, but there's a lot of new faces and prominent names on this team that weren't on the team in 2024. Rodgers, Metcalf, Ramsey, Slay, on and on. Could you feel a real different vibe on Sunday?
I mean, it is crazy. Like, there's 12 new quote unquote, not rookies. So we'll say like veteran players who never played in a Steelers uniform until that game. And then 4 rookies got a chance to play in a regular season game. So that's a lot of new. I definitely think Aaron Rodgers, what you have seen at training camp throughout the preseason, just that leader, how he handles himself, how he composes an offense when things aren't going well, that translates to the game even more so, even just, the conversations you see him having with the surface or without one after a drive with Arthur Smith. That was really cool to see just how much they keep going back and forth and looking at things and tweaking things. Aaron talks to every position group on the offense. He even talks to the defensive guys, when he's watching them play and whatnot. And I think, obviously, Jalen Ramsey on the field set the tone, but also off the field, especially when, Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator, at one point gathered the entire defense and kind of had them sit where the D-line guys were and stand around and kind of chewed them out a little bit, rightfully so. And then, Ramsey just kind of continued that throughout the rest of that second half of just rallying the troops and helping people out. So it was definitely cool to see, as you said, like the new faces and how they operate on a game day, and excited to see what it looks like, especially at home. That crowd's going to be insane. The weather is going to be literally perfect. And then, of course, by the way, some of those guys on defense will get to experience Renegade for the first time.
So I've never spoken one word to Aaron Rodgers. He probably has no clue who I am. But I, like everyone at camp, at mini camp, every step of the way, you're glued to the guy. You just watch him like no other player on the Steelers. And my observations then, even in downtime at practice, between periods, everything he seems to do is really well thought out, deliberate, engaged, whether he's talking to a coach or coaching up a younger player. I assume that's how he was on game day as well.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even, he rode the first team buses. 3 of the buses go first, and then the second 3 follow up. That's usually the buses Coach Tomlin's on. And he was on the first wave of buses, had his headphones in, was listening. And then it was like the second he spotted one of the locker room attendants for the visiting team's locker room, somebody that I guess used to work for the Jets, just like literally dropped his stuff, gave him a hug, said hello. Then he quickly went back inside the locker room. And then it was interesting, when he came back out, he kind of, sometimes it's just him. He'll walk around a little bit, but then he saw that locker room attendant again. And he said after the game, he's like, hey, he used to be with the Jets. This is a guy I used to warm up with. And he told me, hey, I'm not with the Jets anymore, but I'm helping out on the visitor side today. He goes, well, great. Then let's catch, let's throw. And he said it was just good to see him. That felt normal. You're obviously back in a place that you know well. He spent 2 seasons there, whether he was on the field or not for all of it.
I mean, he had to know a lot of people in the building.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And, especially when he was out there for what I call the pre warm-ups, it's like you can go out if you want to, you don't have to. He always does go out there. And just watching him from up in the press box at that point, you just see how many people want to go over to say hi to him. And again, it goes back to, the bad rep that some people have tried to make him out to be, this bad reputation. And I can't tell you how many people wanted to do their best to beeline just to shake his hand or say hi or give him a hug that were not affiliated with the Steelers.
Missy, another Steeler facing his former team storyline this Sunday. It's not on the road in Seattle where he used to play, but DK Metcalf will line up against his former team here in just week number 2 after being traded from Seattle to Pittsburgh this offseason. He's downplayed it. He said all the right things this week, as I think we would expect him to. I was actually laughing. He was kind of ribbing our buddy Brian Bacco. DK Metcalf was. He was like, man, you keep trying to ask me about the Seahawks. Like, what's going on here? This is about us. But
and he's a real yes sir, no sir type of guy.
He is. He's very well spoken, very formal in his interviews. But I think the 3 of us can all agree, these guys aren't robots. These guys aren't cyborgs.
Right.
I don't think he would be human if there
wasn't.
wasn't.
Even though he looks like one.
Even though he does look like one, absolutely. These guys wouldn't be humans if you wouldn't want to prove something to the team that just traded you away a few months ago. What's kind of the sense that you're getting from DK Metcalf and what feels like, Missy, a banged-up Seattle secondary where there could really be an opportunity for him to make some plays on Sunday?
It is really crazy when you look at their secondary and how many guys are potentially not going to play, which just seems to bode too well on the Steelers side of luck for that one. But I agree. DK is a human. It's just like Aaron last week. It's almost like the NFL knew what they were doing when they set the schedule. But I think DK is able to compartmentalize it, and it isn't going to be something that's going to be in his head, if that makes sense. How can you not think about it? But I did see, and it was after he had already spoken to the media earlier in the week, his first NFL touchdown was actually in Pittsburgh. I totally forgot that would have been his rookie season. So hopefully his first touchdown as a Steeler will also be in the same spot, since we didn't get a chance to see him in the end zone week 1.
How was the reception from Fields' former teammates? I assume a lot of them were pretty excited to see Justin, too. I think he was popular when he was here.
I mean, everybody, like the
Really?
nutritionist went to go say hi to Justin. Yes. Like everybody loved Justin. And I think, it was good to see. He was definitely one of those guys that everybody loved playing with and playing for. And you saw what they were able to do in those 6 games where he got a chance to be the starter, to come to a new environment after the whole debacle in Chicago. And it felt like it was a good reset for him. But definitely, all those guys on offense especially were very excited to see him.
Missy Matthews, queen of the Steelers sideline, kind enough to share some of her time with us here on this Friday. Missy, great stuff. Thank you, and we will see you on Sunday.
Perfect. Can't wait. Have a good one, guys.
You as well. Missy Matthews, make sure you're checking her out on the broadcast with Rob King and Max Starks. Of course, 1 o'clock on the Steelers Audio Network and your flagship station for the Black and Gold, WDVE. When we come back on the other side, we'll get into a little 5-Star Friday, start talking some matchups here on The Drive. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it.
5-star matchup. Anybody we play is a 5-star matchup because we in it.
The juxtaposition of cool, calm, and collected Troy Polamalu there with going out of his mind to Shea Towson is always a nice kind of, Troy, it's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. It's just, I love
That's how
it.
the locker room had to probably be with he was around. There's some lunatics in there with him, right?
100%. And he's like,
right.
guys, we're going to go destroy the Cincinnati Bengals this afternoon.
Okay, Troy.
It is time for a little 5-Star Friday. It's quite simply our matchup segment, and a big thanks to Missy Matthews for joining us there as well. Make sure you're listening to her on the sidelines, our Steelers Audio Network broadcasts on WDVE and Steelers Audio Network. Matt will be on at 9 a.m. with Tom for the pre-show and then the pregame
That's
show.
been fun.
Yeah, Pursuta, Labs, and Jerry Dulac starts at 11, and then, of course, kickoff with Rob King, the Kinger, Max Starks, and Missy Matthews at 1 p.m. for the Steelers opener. Matt, I wanted to start with something that we talked about, kind of briefly, mentioned at the start of the show at the top of the hour, and that's the Seattle defensive front.
Ooh.
Steelers saw a good one last week in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Might they be seeing a better one against Seattle this Sunday?
Yes, I think it is. I'll take something Dale and I did a lot was like, if you compare the two, my first pick is Quinn Williams.
I had a feeling that's where this was going.
But then a lot of the
2,
next
3,
6,
4,
7 are
5,
Seahawks. And I really like those 2 edge guys from the Jets and former first-round picks, and they cause problems, Johnson and McDonald. But I think these guys are equal. They're not as well known. Well, none of them are really well known. They're not Myles Garrett. But Mafe is a really good player, and he gave Trent Williams a lot of problems last week, who's one of the best left tackles I've ever seen. I know he's up in age. Right, he's an all-time great. And one of my all-time one of my favorite like sleeper pass rushers in the league right now is Derek Hall. He is hot. He's like their Herbig. Like when he's out there, he makes plays all the time. I don't know if he could do it if he played 70 snaps, but
and the opposing fans are like, who the heck's that guy?
Why is he ripping us up?
That's not T.J. Watt or Alex Highsmith. Right. Who's this Herbig guy?
Yeah, and Hall's very similar. And Maybe he gets to the point where he is an every down player this year and has 15 sacks. Like, I could see that in his future. And then they go get a veteran who's a lot different than those guys. Those guys are edge bender, explosive types, a little undersized. And DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been around the block a long time. He's not as bendy as he used to be, but he's powerful at the point of attack. He's really good against the run. Old man strength at this point. And he's not quite Quinnen Williams, but their Williams, Leonard, had probably an equal season last year. He kind of reminds me of Cam Hayward. I mean, this guy's played a really long time, understands the game. He was like the 4th pick in the draft. I thought he was the best pick in the draft when he came out way back when. And he had maybe his best year as a pro. That's why I consider him like Cam. They're built similar, and they at this age are having
like
their best
wine.
pros. Yeah. And they also have the young pup, like the Steelers, in Murphy, that I think has a chance to be a star. So it's deep and it's good. I mean, Jerron Reed's still on this team. He's been a successful, more run-stuffer guy. So, I mean, we just named 6, 7 dudes across the front. They're going to stay fresh, and they're going to be good.
And they were last week against San Francisco. A big part of the reason why, as you mentioned, only 22 minutes of possession, not much going for the Seattle offense, but they were able to hang in that game. They
kept them in that game, right, be on the field the whole time.
Off of that, good against the run, and just like you mentioned. I mean, it's almost like line changes, in their pass rush. It's like, hey, here, as soon as you think you've got a beat on these guys, here come 2 or 3 more guys hopping over the boards to, fresh and coming after you.
Which is extra important this time of year when nobody's fresh and, you know what I mean?
Everyone's still trying to get up to football speed and really trying to get their legs underneath them. That's a great point. And I, again, though, that all goes into do the Steelers come out trying to run to back that off?
Yeah.
They come out trying to pass so that they can't be as heavy in the box, and then maybe that opens up things for the run game. I think, Matt, everybody, I used this word earlier in the week, I think everybody, and I'm guilty of this too, I throw myself into this everybody group, we get too pedantic, we get too hyper-focused on the script for offenses coming into games, right? It's something that we are obsessed with, and I think part of that is because everybody knows how much of a thing that is in the football world. And another part of it is, the Steelers didn't have a single first opening drive touchdown all of last year. So
it hits home.
It hits home. I understand why. To me, though, that script will be very interesting in the sense of how they want to, because as you have mentioned, rightfully so, as a lot of football-savvy people mention, the purpose of that script is to go out there and score points.
Of course.
But it's also to figure out when we do A, how are they going to defend us? When we do B, how are they going to defend us? When we do C, how are they going to defend us? Are they going to be in base? Are they going to be in nickel? What's their personnel going to be like? It's as much information gathering
big time
as it is trying to kind of assert your will and establish yourself at the same time. Do you have an inkling of I would try and back off that pass rush and maybe make the box a little bit lighter, or do you want to come out and go right at these guys and try and establish that run game early?
I don't know about opening series stuff or early versus late, but I did just tweet this out this morning. I was looking at personnel usage, and you can find a lot of stuff on sumersports.com, does all the offensive stuff. And I was fiddling with it today, and the Steelers only played a little over 7% of 13 personnel, which I think is going to go up drastically. And I don't know if it's true, but when I did a night show with Tim and Tom, Benzie said he thought Washington limped off at one point. And I was watching on TV, and I never saw it. And his snap count was a little lower than I thought. So maybe there was something little going on there. I don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there. But the fact that there was only a little over 7% with those 3 tight ends on the field, I was a bit surprised. And I think that goes up because I think that puts people in binds. I think that's going to be the Steelers' identity. It's not going to be 50%, but I think it could be 20, which is still lead the league by a super wide margin. Yeah. And they also, you can't, not all these things can go up, but they only did play 37% of 11 too. I mean, that's obscenely low for the league. So if you think you can protect, and that's the problem. I mean, their pass rush worries me even more than their run stuffing because all those guys we mentioned get after it. But might we see Roman Wilson more than 10 snaps? I mean, I would think the answer is probably yes.
If there's a week to see it, this is going to be the week.
Especially
certainly.
those D-back injuries, right?
And staying with that, the defensive back injuries and potential wide receiver usage, it's the second straight week that we have. It's not nearly as ramped up as the opener when you not only had Aaron Rodgers against his former team, but you had Justin Fields against his former team as well, too. Second straight week, we kind of have that storyline of DK Metcalf is the one who is going against his former team. It's a banged-up secondary, as we discussed in the injury report at the start of the show. How does Seattle go about, if we're kind of focusing on...
I think they're having a hard time with that, I bet.
Yeah.
Because the way they work their corners, when there's two on the field, there's Reek Woolen, who we've mentioned before, had a rough day.
He's had a good career, but not a good start this year.
And his rookie year was better than year 2 last year. The last week was very up and down. But he has the traits. I mean, he's 6'3". I mean, he's a rare-looking corner that can fly. He's bigger than Porter and probably faster. He's not as good at football. But you would think you want your big guy on the big guy. You know what I mean? But he's kind of the weaker dude. So when they play two corners, it's Witherspoon and him. But as everyone, nickel, Witherspoon goes from the outside in, and they bring in Job, who people don't know a lot about, but he was awesome in week 1. And you know how I put some stock in PFF stuff. He was like their number 1 graded corner, where Reek was like their last rated corner. One was like second, and one was like 135th. Now, I don't think the discrepancy's that big, but still, they don't have him out there all the time, though, for a reason. They think he's their third best player. But if Witherspoon's hurt, you're going to have those two out there all the time. I don't think either one's all that scary. And as good as Witherspoon is, in the slot, he's not going to see Metcalf.
Right.
But the Steelers also don't use three wide very much, so they're not going to go to nickel as much. You know what I'm saying? Would you put the smaller, better player Witherspoon or the talented, hard to bet on Woolen on him? But I don't know that Spoon's even going to be in it.
It's not looking promising in that regard.
And your safety help's not great at the moment.
No, and it's banged up as well, too. And, I mean, they could be down Witherspoon and both of their, at least who they projected were going to be their starting safeties coming into this season.
Yeah.
It's not a great place to be.
No. I mean,
the
pass rush might make up for it, and the ball coming out quick might make up for it from a Seattle perspective. But it also could be that game. I mean, it felt like every snap that Metcalf didn't get sauce, the ball went to him.
100%.
This game might just go to Metcalf every time.
All the time.
Right. That guy can't cover him. Boom.
14 targets for DK on
Rodgers
Sunday.
isn't bashful about such things. I mean,
absolutely
right.
not.
He's not. He doesn't mind if he offends somebody.
He'll go to the well.
Right,
if there's water there, he'll go to the well as many times as he wants to.
Yeah.
And so that's
Metcalf could have a big game tomorrow, I think.
I think Metcalf could have a big game tomorrow. Certainly, I think I would have thought that even if the Seattle secondary was healthier than they are right now.
Even if it wasn't his former team, but I'm sure they give him the ball like the first play of the game, and he runs somebody over, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
there's an emotional side of it too.
Oh, there absolutely is. Yeah. And I think we saw a lot of that stuff on Sunday. The emotional side of things for this Steelers team.
Yeah,
and I think we will certainly see that in the home opener. Against Seattle, and what is going to be a game that's going to have a lot of different reasons for these guys to have things circled and highlighted and ready to go.
Absolutely.
But that for DK Metcalf feels like
he's going to be jumping out of his skin.
Real opportunity. He had a good day this past Sunday at MetLife Stadium. He could have a great day in his first time at home at Acrisure Stadium.
Yeah, and he's one of many, as people know, prominent Steelers playing their first home game in black and gold,
Absolutely. And I got to think, I'm trying to remember. I mean, this is like year 8 for me now of doing this thing and working the games. I should remember this, but I feel like, the Steelers they introduce one side of the football for warm-ups for home games.
Okay.
It alternates every game.
Does it?
But it'll typically, I feel like, at the beginning of the season, start with the defense. And then second home game, it's the offense.
Kind of the identity,
then it
going back to Joe Green and Lambert. And right.
For the last few years, that's been where all the money's been spent, has been on the you've got Cam, you've got TJ, you've got bigger name stars on that side of the football where you had a lot of rookies and young, unproven guys on the offensive side. But I think you gotta introduce the off. You gotta let the place go mad for Aaron Rodgers and for DK, that big pop for him against his former team in the first time. I think that would be pretty cool.
That adds up. I like that move.
Matt, 1 hour in the books, another hour to go. When we return to start hour number 2, what do you say we kind of spin the block here and we'll do matchups from a Steelers defense against Seattle offense perspective?
Yep.
We will get there to begin the second hour of the drive. It's Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. Back on the drive here, hour number 2. It is our final hour of programming before the weekend. Congratulations, you made it. The week is winding down. Friday night tonight, of course, some big high school football games across Pittsburgh like there always is. Big slate Saturday. Some fun NFL games on Sunday that we will get into in our next segment, Matt, when we kind of do
It's another really good slate.
Great.
Yeah.
These first 2 weeks, there have been some outstanding.
Yeah, primetime stuff, dynamite. Yeah.
From a neutral perspective, just games that you're very intrigued by between, a lot of division matchups, a lot of contender matchups, all those different things. But before we get to that, and of course, Steelers in Seattle, pick 'em and final thoughts there. We do need to spin the block in our little 5-Star Friday.
Okay.
We talked in the last segment more so Steelers offense, Seahawks defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where's it start, Matt, for you from a Seahawks offense against the Steelers defense? How much of this is about Jackson Smith and Jigba? How much of this is about the Seattle run game?
Yeah, the more I've thought through, what do you do with JSN? So I'm sure we brought it up in the last 4 days, but he basically got 60% of the targets, 6-0.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And he did a lot with them, and he's a really good player. But it's also because their other pass catchers are bad. Kupp isn't what he used to be. They have a rookie I really, really like, Torrey Horton, but he's a 4th-round pick, and he's the third guy out there. They also played, something we haven't mentioned all week, is they played a very high percentage with a fullback on the field. So the Steelers better get used to dealing with fullback-based runs, which can be really hard on teams because you don't see them like you did back in the day. What shoulder do I take on? What gap am I in charge of? But the more I've thought about the the JSN situation, I think Ramsey's going to follow him into the seats. And I didn't think that before, but with the Porter injury and Eccles' availability to do any of the 3 positions, I think you rest Porter. I think when you have 2 receivers on the field, or when you have 2 corners on the field, it'll be Slay and Ramsey will be against JSN, who has gotten a lot better outside the numbers. He's not just a slot. Kupp is just a slot. So when you have 2 corners on the field, you're going to have Kupp and JSN versus Slay and Ramsey. And I think that screams like what Tomlin was saying is Ramsey's our top guy. We're going to put him on their top guy. That doesn't mean no safety support and things like that. But I bet he follows him around because Smith-Njigba also plays a lot in the slot, although Kupp has kind of blocked him a little, and we know that's Ramsey's spot. But because Eccles is so versatile, it's not like Porter where he would have to go to the slot with Kupp. If you know what I'm saying? Like if it was Horton, Kupp, and Ramsey, and Kupp's your slot, I don't want Porter or Slay in the slot. But Eccles, take the slot. He's not as good as those 3, but his versatility helps in this case. So Ramsey, just follow JSN all day long is my hunch.
And that feels like, listen, we talked a little bit about this last week with Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now in the, hey, you know what they say happens when you assume, but in the I think, educated guess that Joey Porter Jr. isn't going to be available.
Doesn't look promising as we record this, right?
It makes a ton of sense for me. And you and I have
I don't mind sitting him this week if it's close.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the opponent to do it against.
Yes.
Where, we talked a little bit last week about how it was Garrett Wilson and then a cast that doesn't really move the needle for you.
The Pips, yeah.
Similar Gladys Knight and the Pips. Similar conversation this week. As much as Cooper Kupp has had an outstanding career, he's not that guy right now.
I think that ship sailed.
I think so. I think so
and
as
even
well
his
too.
numbers, like over his last 6, 7, 8 games, aren't what they used to be. they kind of use him like a glorified tight end.
You don't want to pigeonhole Jalen Ramsey, but I don't think it's pigeonholing him this week. I think it's, hey, this is what you're going to do. We don't need you to be multiple. We don't need you to be versatile this week. We need you to take this guy out of the game.
One thing that kind of skewed things for us last week, though, was the Elliott injury, because now Ramsey all of a sudden had to play a lot more safety. Now, that shouldn't be an issue, but, I mean, I just wanted to throw it out there. Would he have traveled with Wilson more if Elliott doesn't miss any time? Because there wasn't a Peppers involved, I mean, so I just want to throw that out there in hindsight. But as it lines up now, I think Ramsey's going to be on JSN, and that's a great battle.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It certainly will be. I don't think JSN, I think he's a very nice player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's I'm going to command 60% of the offense and be the focal point and everything's going to run through me. To be fair, not many wide receivers in the league are.
No,
there's only a couple of those
30's
guys.
30's a lot. He got 60. I mean, that's by default. You know what I mean?
They don't have a ton of options. But what they do have as well, too, are Walker and Charbonnet and two talented running backs. And we obviously saw how the Jets were able to succeed in the run game against the Steelers this week.
And they're pretty much an outside zone team. Their coordinator, Kubiak, comes from the Shanahan tree. His daddy was Kubiak. It's, always back up. I mean, they're all Shanahan disciples. And they want to run a lot of outside zone as well. They don't have the quarterback rush threat like Fields, obviously. But outside zone has given the Steelers a lot of problems lately, and Walker will hurt you. And Charbonnet's really good back, too.
They're talented.
It's a very good backfield.
So, Matt, I don't want to I think it can almost be as simple for the Steelers defense in the run game as just everybody's got to play better. I don't think anyone's really exempt from that. But you hope I
think Coach Austin said we're expecting YA Black's snap total to go up.
He did talk about an increased role for, I don't know if he said specifically snap count, snap total, but
more
he did
usage
talk about more usage and elevated role, or however exactly he described it,
which I think is a good move.
Which makes a ton of sense. We talked a little bit earlier in the week about the usage of Keanu Benton. Is there some square peg round hole stuff going on there? I do
Loudermilk goes backwards a lot too.
I do expect just a better performance from Cam Hayward.
That'll blow me away if it's not true.
Which in its own right will do a lot to raise the tide of all the other ships around him.
I do a show last night with Pursuta and Merrill Hodge, and one of Merrill's big sayings is never underestimate a great player coming off a bad game, a proud play, those type of things. And Cam's a perfect example. Like, he's going to get Zabel, who I think has a really, really good, bright future, first-round guard. He's a first-round guard out of North Dakota State against Cam Hayward. Like, Cam should win that battle.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that they ran at Cam a lot. I think what they did was they ran away from Watt. I don't think they necessarily ran to the left because it was so bad, because I thought Loudermilk was the weakest link, but they ran away from Watt. I don't know why Seattle wouldn't try to do the same with seeing the success they had.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, and that's
their best two alignment are the left tackle and left guard.
The left tackle and left guard.
Yeah.
So that would lay out and make a ton of sense, and obviously
and it puts the onus on 97.
Puts the onus on 97, and I expect it. Listen, I still think he's going to need a couple more weeks to get fully ramped up to where he wants to be, but and that progression is not linear thing. I expect him to take more steps forward, certainly this week. I
expect him to have
Hayward.
A positive game.
Correct.
Be one.
I think we'll come in on Monday and we'll be like, that's the Cam Hayward we, are
got one
used
bad
to.
one out of his system.
Yes.
I remember that guy. Let's roll. Right. I'll be shocked if we don't have that conversation.
I think I would be as well. And then I guess maybe finally here, talk to me about Sam Darnold.
I like him.
What are you expecting from him? What can the Steelers do to frustrate him and limit him?
Yeah, and he's had a weird career, as people know. I mean, he was highly drafted.
Second overall pick, I think, right? Third overall pick?
Yeah, him or Barkley went 2 or 3 that year. But, I mean, Baker went 1. That's a Josh Allen, Lamar year. Then they went later than those dudes. It was a good class, though. But he goes to a terrible Jets team. And he was a 5-star USC golden boy, blonde, poster child, should be in a movie.
5-star high school recruit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And things came easy to him.
Straight out of Varsity Blues.
Exactly. He probably had the best looking cheerleader. I mean, he was USC, all that good stuff. Good for him. and realized this league doesn't work that way. And he went to a couple bad organizations, Jets, Panthers, and then lands in Minnesota. Well, actually, what he did was smart. And he's even said this since. He said, the best thing I ever did for my career was go sit behind Brock Purdy and learn from Shanahan and Purdy and just be the two and just take the pressure off, exhale, be around one of the absolute best in the business.
Totally.
And understood, I'm not the best player on the field anymore. I think he looked in the mirror that year.
Similar thing that happened to Baker Mayfield in L.A.
Yeah, right, exactly. You spend a year with McVay and, okay. Or, Purdy knows he's not the best player on the field, but I can get the ball to Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey over Kittle and all those guys over the years. And I think Darnold realized, I got a lot of talent. I can make a real living of this thing if I don't try to be Superman all the time. I'm not going to be Josh Allen. And then he gets to Minnesota, and we saw what happened. He had a really, really good year. Great deep passer. That still holds up. He's always been a good deep passer. His biggest weakness, I would say, now that he's eliminated some of the hero ball stuff, is he doesn't handle pressure as well as others. Like, I think I said this yesterday. Like, every quarterback in a clean pocket's here, and everyone's
no
worse
quarterback
is
handles
better.
pressure well, right?
But the gap for him
yes.
is bigger than most, and they don't protect really well, So I think he's good. I don't think he's great, but I think he's good, and I think they're happy with him. And I also think they might sprinkle in a Milroe package. He played like a snap or two. So maybe they do more.
It was funny that transitions exactly where I wanted to go was. Did he play one offensive snap against?
Like one or
I think
two,
it was
maybe
two. I would expect that to be a little bit more.
I would if I were them.
How much of that, though, if you're Seattle, how much can you look at last week, the success, that Justin Fields and the Jets had in the run game from a quarterback standpoint, and translate that to Jalen Milroe, who's got some of that same talent.
Oh, he's a rocket ship.
Not as proven, not as experienced as
No.
Justin Fields, obviously.
Not the passer that you trust either.
And it's not like Justin Fields was out there for every snap at quarterback. When
Right,
Jalen Milroe comes into the game, you're tipping your hand a little bit.
Alert. Taysom Hill comes in.
So how much of that, how much of Jalen Milroe, how much of a package could hit from him, for him, could we see on Sunday?
I'd be shocked if it doesn't happen. I mean, I bet he gets his jersey dirty. And remember, head coach comes from Baltimore. That's how they got Lamar acclimated. That first year.
A game with
right.
Flacco
He had a series sometimes or a package for sure. And I would think that starts to – because they're searching. I mean, it's not like they have this great offensive identity. It used to make me crazy when Taysom Hill would come in and Drew Brees in his prime would walk over the sidelines. Like, don't take Drew Brees off the field. I mean, I know it was successful. They averaged like 6 yards a play when Taysom Hill was in there, and it worked. But it's like, I want to snap the ball to Drew Brees or Ben, or
Yes.
I'm not taking them off the field. Right?
I don't want to take that. Always was crazy to me, and I know it worked with Taysom Hill, but you're taking a Hall of Fame quarterback off the field,
and he's on the sidelines watching this play.
It just never seems like a great idea,
right? And that's not the case here at all. They're searching for whatever they can get.
This is different.
Yeah. So I bet he gets 3 to 6 carries. Maybe throws one, but I don't know. I mean, he maybe plays 10 plays, 15. I don't know.
Maybe some of that obviously too depends on how the game plays out.
Yeah.
If Seattle's in the lead and they're willing to, and they're trying
Steelers haven't defended it well lately.
No, they have not.
Their last 2 games have been pretty darn bad against rushing quarterbacks.
And there's obviously a lot different personnel in that group this year, but it was not like it was suddenly a different picture that we saw Sunday at MetLife Stadium against the Jets and Justin Fields.
Do it until you prove you can stop it. I mean, I think it'd be malpractice not to put Milroe on the field.
And if the Steelers in the first half jump out to a 7-point, a 10-point lead, it becomes more difficult.
Oh, sure.
But
he's not going to drop back. Right.
If Seattle's got the 7-point or 10-point lead, then all of a sudden I think you've got more opportunity to work that in, try and extend drives, take your time, keep your defense rested.
I would.
And that's what you drafted him for.
Right.
He wasn't a undrafted free agent. He wasn't a 6th or 7th round pick. I mean, he was a 3rd round draft pick.
And they're not redshirting him. He's active. Use him.
That's a interesting wrinkle to keep an eye on Sunday afternoon at
also the
Acrisure
fullback
Stadium.
thing is going to be a little odd too. You're going to get used to seeing a lot of fullback in this game, and you don't see that very much in the NFL.
No, you don't.
It was the most usage of the whole league in Week 1.
Even more than San Francisco.
I think so. They were the top 2, and they happened to be in the same game.
Be in the same game.
Yeah.
So there it is, your kind of 5-Star Friday, your matchup segments for the Steelers offense, for the Steelers defense. When we return on the other side, we will go around the league, take a look at this exciting slate of games, week 2 across the NFL, give some thoughts and some predictions for all of those. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Another big weekend across the National Football League here as we head to week 2. Of course, last night, Matt, maybe before we look ahead, another impressive win by the Packers. I mean,
making a pretty strong case to being maybe the best team in the league.
Beating, other than the Eagles, they've defeated now probably the 2 best NFC teams other than Philadelphia from last year, potentially, in Detroit and Washington in the span of 5 days.
I would say. I mean,
and fairly comfortable both times as well.
They weren't even really close, to be
No.
honest with you. And both those games weren't even as close as the box score looks. I mean, Green Bay, there was 3 or 4 passing plays that could have been blown that thing open in the first quarter, first half for sure. And I thought their week 1 game was the most impressive of any game of the week, too. And Parsons is still a part-time guy, and Love's getting better and better. They're really in a good spot.
They are.
I was always a little down on Washington, too. I mean, I think that's coming to fruition a little. I'm not worried about Daniels, but neither one of his games did he look like the rookie. You know, like, progression isn't linear.
Progression isn't linear.
Yeah, and their defense has worried me all offseason, too.
Yeah.
I didn't pick Washington to go to the playoffs.
You did not.
No.
I remember that. And, yeah, I don't think either of us think that they're going to win 3 games again or 4 games again. The Commanders.
They're now a good team.
They've elevated that floor, but it'll be very interesting to see how they navigate this. I know they had a couple missed field goals in there. Maybe things could play out a little bit differently, but as you mentioned, I thought the Packers left some points out on the field as well, too. Yeah, Green Bay looks dangerous, although I will say
I see a lot of weaknesses on Green Bay.
It was bizarre tuning into that game last night, and the Packers are decked out in all white.
All white is a weird look.
Yeah, and everyone at Lambeau's wearing all white. I guess they have to do that early in the season before the weather gets so terrible that they're all bundled
all
up.
Camouflaged.
They're all camouflaged
right.
in Carhartt by the time you get to Halloween.
Looks like Hoth from Star Wars.
Riding out on a tauntaun to get
Right.
to Lambeau Field. On to Sunday's slate, Matt. And as we've mentioned a couple times, a lot of good games here to sink your teeth into. We'll go in chronological order, I guess. Bengals back home, 1-0, hosting the Jags. Cincinnati, 3.5-point favorites.
I'm taking the hook. Over 3. I think the Jags can hang around. Probably a high-scoring game, typical Bengals game from last year. 30-32, something like that. I don't think they blow their doors off. I think Jacksonville hangs around. I think that number is enough for me to take the points.
I am with you. Listen, we saw Cincinnati start slow last week. It's something they've done historically.
Yeah. I don't think the defense is fixed.
I don't think the defense is fixed. I think the Jaguars have a really good shot of winning this game.
I thought about it, yeah.
But I will absolutely take Jacksonville plus 3.5 because I think if Cincinnati wins, it'll be another 2-point, 3-point win. Give me the points there, and the Jags, I think, is the way to roll. Cowboys back home licking their wounds against the Giants in an NFC East clash. Dallas 5.5-point favorites at home against the G-Men.
I'll take the points. I don't feel great about it either way. The weakness of the Giants right now is the O-line, and I just think without Parsons, they don't take advantage of that well. Love how Dak played, but I think that D-line and Giants D's a handful. So I bet they keep it close.
I'll lay the points with the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to blow them out, but there's already a lot of questions in New York about are they going to go to Jackson Dart this week.
I hate that stuff already.
And Dallas has had an extra, they've had, 10, 11 days to kind of sit around and stew and prepare and be angry and ready for this one.
And at home. 10-day break and at home. Right.
I don't think they blow them out by 2 or 3 touchdowns, but I will lay the 5.5. I'll take Dallas minus 5.5 in a little bit of a get-right game there against the Giants. Another divisional clash in Detroit from the NFC North this time. A pair of 0-1 teams who certainly don't want to start 0-2. The Lions hosting the Bears. One of the bigger spreads of the weekend. Detroit 6.5-point favorites.
So watching games in week 1, I told myself after the outcomes, not knowing who these teams are playing in week 2, I'm taking the Ravens for sure. I'm taking the Chiefs, and I'm taking the Lions against the points no matter who they're playing because they've won a lot of games lately, and I trust them to rebound in a big way. I didn't know the Chiefs were hosting the Eagles. We'll get to that one. But the other two I am taking all day long. I think the Ravens, I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but I think the Ravens blow the Browns out of the water. And I like some things about the Bears, but I think that head coach in Detroit, it was pretty rough on him this week, and they play a much better game. I don't know if the Lions are as good as they used to be, but they're still better than the Bears and got embarrassed in a division.
Yes. And a lot of heading back home as opposed to when you're the Bears, kind of new regime heading on the road for the first time. That 6.5 number is pretty substantial.
It is. I don't love the line.
I wish it was more like 5.5, but I'm with you. I'm going to lean towards Detroit's still really good. That Super Bowl window might not be wide open like it was the last couple years, but I think they are still clearly a much better team than Chicago at home after an embarrassing effort at Lambeau Field. I'll lay the points. I'll take Lions minus 6.5.
A little more points than I expected, though.
I would like 5. I would like 5.5 a little bit more, but I will still lean towards giving Detroit the benefit of the doubt on this one. First opportunity for Cam Ward in Music City to make his Nashville debut for the Titans. The Rams head to town there, feeling good about themselves, starting 1-0 with that victory against the Texans. On the road, Matt, the Rams are 5.5-point favorites.
I think they wiped the floor with them.
Do you? Stafford
was awesome in week 1. We could talk about his back, and I don't know if it's going to hold up, but he's good right now. And his receivers are a handful. Ward was really interesting to me because awful environment. You got to go to Denver against that defense, Mile High, all that stuff. And his box score looks terrible, but he did a lot of good stuff. Like, Titan fans should be excited, but I think the Rams beat him bad.
This is a number, and I know it's on the road, that I thought could be a 6.5, 7.5 type number.
Yeah.
The Titans just they are at square one. I mean, they are.
Yeah, they're just a long way away.
They are at the the first steps of a 1,000-step journey.
Yeah,
Matt?
Right. Hope it goes well, but we'll see.
Yes, a 1,000-mile journey. And so I think there is a chance that they could do some things to keep it, but even laying 5.5 still seems pretty comfortable for the Rams. And, they won last week at home, but they didn't necessarily light it up offensively either. I think they've got some more juice there to squeeze, does LA. So I'm with you. I will lay the points minus 5.5 on that one.
I like it.
And a surprising, maybe perhaps the most surprising line of the week to me takes place down in Miami, where the Dolphins host the Patriots for another one of these divisional early season matchups. Miami's a 1.5-point favorite.
I don't know that they should have been a favorite over anyone after that.
I know it's at home, and particularly in September
under
Mike
year,
McDaniels, they have a really good record.
Right.
They have the way the stadium's set up. The sun beats down on the visiting sideline, and the Dolphins wear their white uniforms so that the opponent has to wear the darker colors.
It's a wonderful situation.
It's a great home field. It's a great home field advantage in that regard. I just think that this team is about as close to being unraveled as you can be for week 2 of a season.
Me too. I wish they were playing somebody else that I felt more confident in because I don't love what I saw from New England. But I think Vrabel takes advantage of that situation. And this one, it's like, if you're going to give me points, I'll take whoever gets points. And I just don't have – I'm not sure I could put money on Miami right now.
Very good way to say it.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots win. I think Vrabel just finds a way, Vrabel-type game. Maybe it's a little ugly, lower scoring than people expect, and the Patriots just make one more play or one less mistake.
That could be it.
At the end. But I will take the points, obviously, as well, too. But that one, to me, is a little surprising after everything that we've seen from Miami. 1.5-point favorites at home against the Patriots, but I'm with you. I'm not putting any money on Miami at this point. Saints at home hosting the 49ers. And another one of these 1 o'clock kickoffs. San Francisco 3.5-point favorites on the road.
They're so injured, and Purdy's out. And I actually thought the Saints and Rattler played okay. Like I think it was
better
easy.
than expected.
Yeah, I thought it was easy to say the Browns and the Saints are worst two teams in the league times 1,000. Well, they didn't play like it, and so New Orleans, tough place to play. I think they keep it close enough.
I think New Orleans could surprise some people and maybe even win this game at home.
Yeah, maybe.
But I will take New Orleans in the points. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Give me New Orleans plus 3.5. I think the Saints could win. The Niners they are so banged up. They're on the road for the second straight week too, which is always difficult. Longer road trip this time than going to Seattle, obviously. I'll take the Saints plus 3.5.
Me too. Not an easy place to play.
Not an easy place to play,
yeah,
without a doubt. Speaking of interdivision matchups here, once again, the Jets, they are at home for the second straight week to open up the season. They got the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen coming to town. Tough test for New York coming off of a loss. Buffalo 6.5-point favorites on the road.
Kind of. I hope I'm not wearing Steeler-colored glasses by picking the Jets here. Jets are really impressive. Made the Steeler game look better than it was. And I believe that today they could get their doors blown off by the Bills, though, and Josh Allen might throw 5 touchdowns. But Keon Coleman's been kind of their number one. He's going to get sauce. The other receivers are fine. And what really worries me for the Bills is really the only defensive player I thought that was impressive this past week was Ed Oliver, and he's out. And I think they can run and keep it close. So I'm going to bet on the Jets getting points, but I wish this was more than a touchdown.
I'm going to lay the points with Buffalo.
I totally get it.
Couple reasons. One, just Buffalo has owns that division over the last couple of years.
Oh, just big time.
Sorry, I wasn't I was wait, an awkward little pause there while I was trying to bring up the total on this game too. 47.5. I think that for the Jets, they are without a doubt an improved team, but I don't think that means the offense is going to look like it did last week all season either.
I know.
I think that they overall are going to take a step forward, but this might be one of those progression isn't linear type weeks.
Oh, it might be 3 steps forward last week, 2 back today.
Or
4 back.
I'm gonna lay the points with Buffalo. I think
totally understand
the way they've owned that division, and I'm gonna lean my kind of benefit of the doubt their direction on this one.
I totally get it. I wouldn't touch it. I just think their running game might be able to keep things close.
Last 1 o'clock game that we have to discuss, other than Steelers Seahawks, obviously,
yeah.
but we'll do that in the last segment, is, stop me if you've heard this before, another divisional matchup. AFC North, Baltimore at home licking their wounds after that disappointing fourth quarter debacle against Buffalo. They host the Browns. Biggest spread of the week by far, Matt.
Yeah, I know.
Ravens are 11.5-point favorites at home against Cleveland.
I already told myself as soon as that whistle ended, I don't care who the Ravens are playing next week, I'm picking them no matter what the spread is. And then Grant Delpit today is coming out saying, oh, how hard is it to tackle Derrick Henry? Someone asked him. He's like, it's not hard. Like, you're poking the bear.
Why would
and then
you
somebody
say
else
that?
said something too, and I forget who it was, but come on, man.
I
think this is blowout.
I'm very
city.
torn on this one because I think it very easily could be.
Cleveland played well.
I think Cleveland played pretty well.
Yeah.
I also hear Arthur Moats in the back of my head saying you never take a double-digit spread in the national. You stay away from double-digit spreads in the National Football League. I might take the Browns plus 11.5.
They could easily backdoor cover it, or
this is one that if it gets up to like 12.5 by kickoff, I think I would absolutely take Cleveland. That's just Baltimore could be up 17 the whole, and then Cleveland scores a garbage time touchdown at the end, and the Ravens end up winning by 10.
And never were in danger.
That's just
that's how it works in this league.
That's a lot of points, man.
It is a lot of points.
Lot of points.
I just think they're going to be mad.
I do think that is certainly going to be the case as well. And yeah, Grant Delpit, way to go, buddy, poking the bear there. Into the 4 o'clock slate here, Matt. The Colts coming off maybe their most impressive home opener in a long time.
Big time.
They host the Broncos, a battle of 1-0 AFC teams here. Denver, 1.5-point favorites at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indy.
See, I was kind of unhappy about this one, too. I'm like, I thought the Colts would be favored. Just considering how both teams played.
They're a home team.
They're home. They blew the Dolphins out, but Vegas is smart. I mean, I would definitely pick Denver to win this game straight up, so I'm going to go and I'm going to lay the points A week ago, I think this spread's probably 4.5 favoring Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to kind of stick with what I thought of these teams all off season. But I thought I'd get points with the Broncos.
Every week, it's like there's a little bit of a rat poison game, that you kind of look at it and you're like, that one doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy into that this week. I think the Broncos did not perform up to snuff.
No.
I think the Colts played what might be their best game of the season last week.
Right. I mean, is Daniel Jones that good?
Are they going to score on every possession of the game like they
No way.
did?
Right. Or is
against
Miami just that dysfunctional?
I'll lay the points with the Broncos, though. I'm going to stick with Sean Payton. I'm going to think he's going to have the old cliche of, improving from week 1 to week 2. I think we'll see that from Denver.
I'm expecting it because of their coach, and they're good on both lines of scrimmage.
Cardinals, Panthers in Arizona. We talked about this, kind of a favorable slate for Arizona to open the year. You get the Saints week 1, and then you get the Panthers at home week 2.
Panthers were bad.
They were real bad. 6.5-point favorites are the Cardinals, though. You willing to bet on Arizona to win by a touchdown or more?
No, I'm going to take the points. Not that I have extreme confidence in Carolina to bounce back, or I'm a big believer, but I do think their offense is better than it looked, and that just seems like a lot. I don't have a lot of faith in the Cardinals at the moment either, or Kyler.
I think I'm going to lay the points.
I get it.
Because I don't have a lot of faith in the Cardinals or Kyler, but I have less faith in the Panthers and Bryce Young. And I just think they are in for a long season. At least last year, at least the last couple years, I think there were like some things that you could hang on for Carolina. I don't even know if they have anything right now that you can point to and say, at least they do this well. Like they have a bread and butter, They've got 1 or 2 nice players on defense. I think Tet McMillan is going to be a really nice piece.
He looked really good, right.
But
they ran the ball really well last year, but not last week.
The Cardinals have a more proven quarterback. They've got 2 running backs that I really like. They've got a good tight end. They've got a good wide receiver. I don't think they blow them out, but I'll take the Cardinals to win by at least 7.
I just thought that was a little too many points.
In perhaps the game of the week, Matt. 4:25 Arrowhead Stadium, a rematch of the Super Bowl. The Chiefs hosting the Eagles. When was the last time the Chiefs were dogs at home?
I know.
Probably before Mahomes.
And he wins like every one of them. If they're a dog ever, they win by a million.
Well, they're a dog at home, something that we probably haven't seen in 7-8 years in Kansas City. Just 1.5-point favorites are the Eagles.
They're going to be 0-2? I mean, they won 15 games last year. They go to Super Bowl every year.
They only lost 2 games last year. They're going to start out of the chute losing 2.
But we saw this not too long ago, and the Eagles crushed them. And Jalen Carter wasn't even around for the Week 1 game. I'm taking the Eagles, but this is a don't touch it. I don't like betting against Mahomes as a home dog. Coming off a loss. That seems insane to me, but I just think the Eagles are a better football team.
If you gave me $100 to bet on this game, I'd ask you if I could use it somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
I'm with you. I don't want to bet against Mahomes.
No.
But the Eagles deserve the respect that they're getting. Matt, if
weapons around Mahomes right now are pretty banged up.
If I have to make a decision type thing, I'm gonna err on the side of Mahomes.
I get it.
Especially
in their building. If it was in Philly, it'd be a different story.
If it was in Philly, it's a completely different story. I think this game, off the backdrop of the Super Bowl, being at home and having lost already last week, means a little bit more to Kansas City than it does Philadelphia. I think they will be up and they will know, hey, we don't.
This is legit.
It's not a disaster if we start the season 0-2. We're still the Chiefs, but we do not want to start the season 0-2.
If the Chargers or Denver wins, you're 2 games back in your division already. I mean,
I think Kansas City finds a way to get it done. By hook or by crook, they get it done.
I'm just saying the Eagles are better right now.
They are.
And I'm not saying they're even going to run back the exact same game plan or anything, but they played them pretty strong.
If these teams play 10 weeks in a row here, I think the Eagles might go 7-3.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Chiefs this weekend.
Circumstances have something to do with it.
And then Sunday Night Football, Vikings, Falcons, Minnesota favored by 3.5 at home.
I really liked what Penix did. I thought the Falcons' defense took a step forward. But, man, that place is going to be lubed up.
Yes, it is.
Skull and all the stuff they do, night game. I think that's a tough environment for a young team. I'm going to take the Vikes.
I think so, too. I just think Minnesota looks like they're on they got a new quarterback, which is a huge deal, but the rest of the operation looks like it's on the same page. I think that was a really good learning experience for J.J. McCarthy to start
Yes.
Wasn't easy for him, but he was able to figure it out. And,
tough environment, overcame it. Right.
I think the Vikings are in line to have another double-digit win season and be one of those teams that will clearly be in the playoff picture throughout the string of things. Hey, Falcons could end up losing by a field goal, and that wouldn't shock me. But I'll lay the 3.5 points with Minnesota.
Yeah, I like that. I also think Flores will cause Penix issues. I mean, he can hold the ball, and I think he's a good young quarterback. But
maybe take Bijan out of the game a little bit, and put it in Penix's hands.
Yeah, I think the Vikes are in good shape on that one.
And I think they are as well too.
Cool.
That'll do it for our NFL Pick'em.
Two Monday nighters.
I was just going to say a doubleheader Monday nighter that we'll have some fun discussing on Monday as the Texans host the Bucks, the Raiders host the Chargers. But we will obviously get into those on Monday. When we return on the other side, just one game left to pick. Steelers, Seahawks, the home opener, 1 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. We'll give some predictions on how we think that one's going to play out before we get up out of here. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here on a Friday. That means it is all eyes on the Steelers here in the final segment. Of course, the home opener against the Seattle Seahawks, 1 o'clock, Acrisure Stadium on the North Shore of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the weather seems like it will be beautiful, about 80 degrees at kickoff. All the tickets will be sold. The beers will be cold. Matt, Steelers 3.5-point favorites. Before we give specific score predictions and get out of here, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but I know you're good at this kind of stuff. The Steelers win if, the Seahawks win if.
Wow. A lot of games are a little more obvious to me than this one.
I can go first if you want a second to think about it.
I was going to say run defense and run the ball on Steelers. I mean, like, those two things can't be that bad again. You're not going to win many games. And I hate to say this, but they were kind of fortunate to get out of Jersey with a win.
Absolutely.
I mean, like,
absolutely.
It's not like, that was in the bag from the start.
Kenneth Gainwell doesn't force that fumble, and Skronik pounces on it on the kickoff. If that kickoff goes in the back of the end zone instead.
Or Boz kicks a 59-yarder instead of a 60-yarder.
Completely different game.
Where the sky's falling. It wasn't far from the sky falling. I think the big thing is just run defense, and it's even less so a running game. I could see Rodgers, especially with the secondary injuries, without much running game help, winning this game, but not if the Steelers can't stop the run.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a big thing.
For me, it's as simple as Steelers win if they win the trenches. Seahawks win if they win the turnover and sack differential battle.
Okay. I'm on board with that.
If the Seahawks have 4 sacks and the Steelers have 1,
Seahawks might have 4
and
or 5,
and they win the turnover ratio even +1.
Yeah.
+2. I think that's how Seattle wins.
I can see it, and it sticks with me. I mean, they were 7-1 on the road last year. I know a lot of it's Pete Carroll, but no one has come to 1 o'clock games on the Eastern side of things.
Most of that is Carroll and Russ,
but still.
I
mean, it's that organization wins these games.
They did it last year too, and Carroll and Russ weren't there last year.
I think it's a very dangerous game for the Steelers. Very.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like you said, if you get a bounce or two that doesn't go your way, it could.
And it's not on the road, but it's another one of those proverbial wounded animals. Like, it doesn't mean as much as it used to in the NFL now with the 17th game and the extra wild card spot, but you still do not want to start 0-2. Like, that is a thing that everybody knows.
Everybody knows, right? I mean, your playoff odds just historically go down drastically, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So with that being said, Steelers, 3.5-point favorites. How's it play out, Matt?
I have the Steelers. I'm picking the same score as last week. 17-16. Close game, which was a close game. I got that part right, but the score I was not even.
I think we all got the close game part right.
Hemisphere
was not the rock fight we expected.
I just think I'm a believer that the Steeler D is going to be a really good defense this year, and I don't really like where Seattle's offense is. But even though Pittsburgh's offense was much better than their defense last year, I'm not sold that even Rodgers, the passing game, let alone the run game, Broderick Jones, against this defense is going to be, they'll just keep it up. I don't think they're just going to keep it up. I don't see 30 points. I don't see 35 points. Defensive-minded head coaches. So I think it's a close one, by the Steelers winning 17-16.
Same score prediction as
I
last
have
week.
the same prediction, but I would take the points.
I thought about going my same prediction as last week, which was 16-13.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bump it up a little bit, though. I got Steelers 20-17.
Is that based off of Rodgers and more faith in their ability to consistently move the football than we've seen in years past?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I think that the defense is going to be more of the unit that we expected them to be. And
I'm concerned if it's not.
I don't think, and I know he did a good, listen, the Jets talented front as well too. Aaron Rodgers did a good job of getting rid of the ball, and he still got sacked 4 times.
Right.
But they don't want to expose Aaron like that. They just can't. He's 41 years old. If he gets hit that often,
and that wasn't
it's not
4
gonna
seconds
end well.
into the play. Those were quick sacks.
You have highlighted it all off season. Sacks are as much of a quarterback stat as anything.
Yeah.
Aaron even spoke to some of that this week when he was talking about it. He said some of those sacks were on me. I wasn't moving the way that I should have.
Which is a nice way of saying I'm not going to throw linemen under the bus.
Which what you expect?
You
your,
never throw
what
linemen
you
under
expect
the
your leader
bus.
to do.
Yeah.
But it's also too like.
But he doesn't get out of the way.
He
3
doesn't.
rushers
it's
are
not
going
like
to
when
put
he
him
was
on the ground.
31.
No,
it's not like 10 years ago when he could move and avoid people and evade the pressure like he used to be able to.
I mean, I'm a little less confident in their sack ratio is going to be better because he's not going to shrug anybody off,
No.
and he's not going to elude sacks. I mean, he's going to beat sacks from the neck up, throw the ball away, know where things are coming. But if his protection's not good this year, he's going to get hit a lot because he doesn't get out of the way.
And you have got to minimize that against this talented Seattle front. So I think this is the lower scoring game that we expected. 20-17 Steelers.
Okay. Now, I would think they're going to do more max protect. I would think that there'll be a couple DK shots down the sidelines. They're not going to go another game without a 20-yard pass, But can they protect it up? I mean, that might be more Washington and Warren staying in, taking shots downfield. We'll see. And I expect Rodgers to hit on some of those this year. I think he's still a really good deep passer. Special teams, I always favor the Steelers too. Just throw that out there. And coaching advantage, I think Tomlin just the intangible stuff. Tomlin at home, season opener, young coaching staff, all new offensive staff for Seattle. Maybe they are starting out hot and it's like the Jets and kind of dwindle down the stretch. I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good game. I
do too. I think it's going to be, regardless of how it plays out, I think it's going to be another close one, just like we saw this past Sunday. And I'm fired up. I want these games to start rolling in. I want more data points. I want more real tangible stuff to see and to dissect and to build upon and to deduce. And I think listen, it'll still.
I really hope we don't come in here Monday going, boy, the D looked just as bad.
Same.
That to me is my fear.
Even if
I can handle a loss.
If we're saying that about the run game, that's one thing. Because
right.
I think it is going to be a longer work in progress. But we cannot be saying that about the defense if we want this team to be who we think they're capable of being.
Man, this defense is bottom third. I'm like, oh no, that's a problem.
Matt, enjoy the weekend, dude. Great stuff.
Yeah, enjoy your Saturday fun in WVU, too.
I think I'm going to enjoy the tailgate much more than I am the result of the game. But weird things happen in rivalries. That's why you play the game. Any given Sunday, any given Saturday, we'll see. But hopefully we are back in here on Monday talking about a Steelers team that is 2-0 and making some improvements based on all those things that we've discussed this week. Big thanks to Missy Matthews for joining us. Big thanks to our video producer on the YouTube side of things, Mr. TV. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.